Hello and welcome to this video on how to use the 247 time system. Here we're going to show you how to use the system in respect of Solutions SK. We're going to show you how to log in, change your password, how to manage your candidates, find jobs and assign those candidates to the relevant job roles, look at what activity needs to be completed weekly for timesheets, how to find out about your weekly trading, and then finally look at some common issues and cures. So it starts off basically, as you can see on the virtual circle there, that Solutions SK requires a worker, and you may go and take a worker to Solutions SK, or they may come to you asking for somebody with the valid qualifications. You then assign the candidate into the system, complete their profile, and then add them to the relevant job role, and the candidate then goes and works away on site. So following that week, then the activity takes place in terms of the timesheet, and the approval takes place, and as a result of that we do consolidation, and payments then are then generated, and then we're into another cycle. Before we go in and show the system, just a couple of things regarding information governance. First and foremost, you're not allowed to share passwords. We're quite happy to give out usernames and passwords, but they remain confidential to you. And we do suspend users where passwords are being shared. Where required, you are authorised and should have already obtained permission to upload candidate information into their particular profile. And if you download data from 247 time, it's really important that you keep that information safe and secure. And we all hear stories of where information is left on a bus or a train, and then that information gets out into the public domain. So it's your company's responsibility to ensure that remains in place. And equally, we abide by the Information Commissioner's Office's Data Protection Act, and we police that our users do as well, and in that you can only use 247 time within the EEA. And a final reassurance from ourselves that we don't sell or trade your information. 247 time is just a means of getting information from your candidate yourselves to Solutions SK and vice versa. Okay, how to log into the system. You log in on time2.247time.co.uk, and that'll bring you through to the home page. You can log in on any device that's connected to the internet, and we have people logging in on smartphones, Androids, as well as traditional PCs and laptops. But the one thing that they do ask you to make sure is that you do keep up to date with any browser, as there could be compatibility issues with older versions of browsers. If you need to get hold of us, you can get hold of us on 0333 1014 That's a local rate number. But what we ask you to do in the first instance is email support@247time.co.uk. And the reason for that is we operate a ticket-based system. So when you call, we will invariably ask you for your ticket number. It enables us to track your inquiry all the way through and deal with the more important ones first, as opposed to those that can perhaps wait a little bit longer. And equally, what it then enables us to do is, if your inquiry is something that we've dealt with on many other occasions, we can send you back a snippet that helps you resolve that inquiry quickly. So it saves you time as well as us time. Okay, logging into the system is just a question of having a username and a password, and if you haven't got one of those, just email support at the end of this video and we can get those issued to you. Anything you see in blue is where you click to enter information into the system or click to retrieve it. So you can see here, forgotten usernames and forgotten passwords do exactly as they say on the tin, and you click login, and login will then bring you through to the dashboard. Now, the dashboard is our means of conveying information that we think is important that you should see. We may send it to you directly by email, but for belt braces purposes, we may place it here as well. And you can click on any of the messages by just clicking on the blue link. The top black navigation bar, if you think of this as the drawers in a filing cabinet, this is where you're going to go to look for information or click to retrieve it. But normally what we'll ask you to do is, when you sign in for the very first time, you'll agree to the terms and conditions in common with most online systems, and then go in and change your password. You can go in and change your password at any particular moment in time, and the way you do that is just go in and click on settings on the right hand side here. You're presented with the setting screen, and you just type in your password plus the password that you want to use a couple of times. Click on modify, and that then becomes your password from there on in. So let's now go and have a look at how you manage your candidates and how to find a candidate and add a candidate into the system. So click here on the left hand side, click on candidates, and you're presented with one screen, which is normally screen A, and I've taken the liberty here of snapping two screens in one, but normally you'll see just screen A, which is just an empty box and a search. So basically you can type in there Fred Blogs, click on search, and up will come Fred Blogs, or you can type in Fred, click on search, and up will come Fred, all your Freds, or you can click on blogs and up will come all your blogs. If you leave that box blank and then click on search, what you'll see is screen B, which is all of your candidates, and you can sort any column into any order that you wish by just clicking on the blue header. And to go in and look at a candidate, you just click on the blue, which is in effect their national insurance number. You can see down here on the bottom right, two important boxes here. This is export to Excel, is where you can actually download information from 247Time to the device that you're logged in on. And in this case, it will download a CSV file to your machine, then that you can either use in any third-party application or manipulate as you wish. And it is dynamic, so this information will change depending on what it is you've clicked on at that particular moment in time. But we're going to go and register a new candidate. So you click on register candidate, and it brings up the register candidate screen. And in common with most HR systems that I'm sure you're familiar with, it's a simple question of just filling in requirements. So basically the NI number, you'll see your agency name, and then you can complete the candidate information. At the moment, no documents are required by Solutions SK, but if they are required at any future date, you'll just upload them, as you can see here, and then you just click save. And that's as simple as it is to register a new candidate into the system. So let's go now and have a look at jobs, and you do that by clicking on the jobs tab. So you'll have a confirmation, and that may be by telephone or written or email, that says, okay, we want your candidate to work at this site doing this particular role, and we want them to start on this particular day and perhaps finish on a date as well. So within the system then, what you do is click on jobs, and you'll see two boxes. So the first box is the title, the job role that your candidate's going to be working, and the second is the location. So this will be given to you in terms of your confirmation, and then click on search. And then what comes up is, in this case I've used administrator, and you can see the administrator roles in this particular location. And when you find the one that you actually want, you just click on the blue, go and assign your candidate, and you can see details of the job. It confirms some example rates as we've shown here, but you can see the rates for a particular job. You can see any terminated candidates you've had on that particular job role, but we're going to assign a new candidate to this role. So you click on assign candidate. We've got nobody working at that particular role from the agency at the moment. Again, if you had somebody already working in that department doing that same job, they would appear here. And we're going to finally now assign a new candidate to this role. So click on assign new candidate. And what you see here is just your candidates and your candidates only. So you can type in Simon Blogs, click on that, Simon Blogs will appear here, or you can scroll through your candidates till you find the candidate that you want to assign, and when you've got them, you just click on select. And the very final screen, it confirms your agency name. Select the branch that you're supplying from. You may be a one branch operation, or you may be part of a multiple chain. So you basically select the branch that you're supplying from. It confirms the job role, it confirms the national insurance number and the name of the candidate. If the candidate has been working already on site for a couple of weeks and you've just got round to now assigning to the job role, for AWR purposes, you just put the number of weeks that they've already worked on site. And the reason for that is it keeps your AWR reporting consistent. The start and end dates, you can only have somebody starting in a job role in the current week that we're actually in. And our working week is Monday through to Sunday. So if you've had somebody already working on site for a couple of weeks, I'll show you how we deal with that in a moment. But basically you have them starting in this current week. You can have them starting on the Monday, the Tuesday, the Friday, the Saturday, next week, next month. It doesn't really matter, but you can't have them starting any earlier than the Monday of the current week that you're actually in. Just a tip on the end dates, not so crucial here, but we tend to find that if the client then says, well, okay, we need your candidate this week, we may need them next week, and we may want them for a few days the following week, and you're not absolutely sure when the end date's going to be, then leave that blank and your candidate will remain on the timesheet until either you go in and terminate them off the roll yourself, or that nothing happens to that candidate for 6 weeks, in which case the system's intelligent enough to say, well, clearly that candidate's no longer working there, so we'll clear them off the timesheet just to keep things nice and tidy. So then all you do is click Save and Close, or you can click Save and add another candidate to that same job role at that particular site. So that's it for adding a candidate. So let's have a look at how the timetable actually works. So it starts off by a candidate either coming into your agency or Solutions SK requiring a worker from you. You'll go in and enter a candidate profile into the system, and the candidate then goes and works on site Monday through to Sunday. It's the following week that as an agency you'll go in and add the information onto the timesheet, and then Solutions SK will go in and approve then that particular timesheet, and then payments are actually made. So in terms of the timesheet then, what you need to do is click on timesheets, click on Solutions SK, and then click on the department where your candidate is working, and then what you'll see is this particular timesheet line here, and you'll have a line for every candidate. So if you walk through that, then you can see that you can see your candidate with a national insurance number. The purchase order number is emailed on a Monday morning direct to the business unit from you, and basically you always then add that purchase number in here. In the order ID you add in A for agency, and when the approver goes in and approves the timesheet, they then put their initials in here. It shows the week work, it'll show your agency, it'll show the job role, and then you add the hours in for the days that the candidate has actually worked. So if it was 8 hours that they worked, you'd put 8 hours in the day box. If it was 7.5, you'd put 7.5. You can decimalize it to the minute if you want to, but basically every 15 minutes should be sufficient. If the candidate is qualifying for bonuses and expenses, then you can add that information in here. And if you want to add any note to the approver, you can add that into here as well. And again, on the timesheet function now, we've got an unapproved timesheet icon that you can click, that you can look at any timesheet that has been unapproved, and the approver will put information into that to show you what the query is, and you can look at that and take any remedial action that is required, and then put in the reason code as well, and then click on save. And that's as simple as it is to add the information in to the timesheet. If you've had a candidate that's been working on site for a couple of weeks and they haven't been added into the system, you can go in now and create your own historical timesheets, and I'm going to show you how you do that. You can create up to 4 weeks previous timesheets. If you need any more than that, then just email support@247time.co.uk. But how you do this is then go to your candidate screen, login screen, and find your candidate, and it brings up their profile. At the bottom of the page it shows the job that they've been assigned to. Click on the blue, which is their job title, and then click on assigned candidates, and it shows you what they've been assigned to, and you can see here this add historic timesheet. So all you then do is click on that. Up pops a panel that shows what dates you want to add a timesheet for. So it's a Sunday weekending date, and you can add up to 4 of those. Having done that, then what the timesheet then is, it adds in a timesheet in pink, a timesheet line. So what you then do is navigate to the week in question and go in and complete that line as you would do any other particular week. And what happens then is the approver will do exactly the same. They'll approve not only the current week's work, but go in and approve any other weeks then that need catching up. Equally, you can go in and amend any hours. So say, for example, you've got a candidate that comes to you and says, well, I've not been paid for a week. I've been assigned to the job, but no hours have been added. How can I get paid? So what you then do is go to, again, the client, the department, and the week in question, and it'll bring up the timesheet. And then you can go in and click on Adjust Hours, and it puts a line there in yellow for you. And then what you can then do is make any adjustment that is required. So say, for example, somebody was working 10 hours and should have only been paid for 8, then you put -2 in the relevant day box, and it will reduce the next payment run by 2 hours. If it was 10 hours and they should have been paid for 12, then you can put 2 in the relevant day box, and it will add 2 hours on. And as you can see in this example, Leon Tester hasn't been paid for any hours, so basically you can go in and put the hours in, click on Save, and then the approver will go in and approve that as well. Okay, trading information then. Having run that consolidation once a week, there is information then available to you, and you'll see a line for every week that you trade with Solutions SK. And what you then do is you can click on that, and there are 2 pieces of information. There's an invoice file and a data file. So when you click on invoice file, it brings up a PDF invoice of your trading with Solutions SK for that particular week, and it shows a net amount, VAT, and a gross amount. And this is a self-billing invoice that is generated. So you may still need to do work for your own accounts operation, but when that invoice spits out at the end of your process, you don't send that invoice into Solutions SK anymore. The system is doing this for you on your behalf. So basically this is your self-billing invoice, but this could be for tens of thousands of pounds. So what you're going to want to know is, how do you reconcile this? So what you do is you click on data file, and it downloads to your device a CSV file that contains all the information relevant to your trading for that particular week, so that you're able then to reconcile that. And this information is available to you after consolidation. It also remains there so that if, for example, 6 months from now you have a query, you can go back in. It's what we see, it's what Solutions SK see as well. So the information is open and transparent and available. But what we recommend that you do is just go in and have a look at that on a weekly basis, just to make sure that it does meet your expectations. Finally, if you have a query, first thing to do is go in and have a look at the support website and see if there's anything there that leaps out at you that you haven't done in terms of what is required. Then follow your candidate's journey all the way through the system. Make sure then that you've completed the profile correctly, that you've assigned them to the right job, and the timesheet information is there, and equally that there are any notes in the timesheet that if there is something that you need to act on, that you've done so. But if you're still scratching your head thinking, well, I can't see what the query actually is, then just email us at 247time at support@247time.co.uk, and we'll intercede on your behalf and help you with your inquiry. That's it. So basically, it's important links there at the bottom of the page. Thank you for your time.